All right, we are live, baby. Let's get it. Episode 30, 30, XXX. Technically, I think that's 30 in Roman numerals, but we'll figure it out. Let me make sure this is close enough. I don't know what that was. The Ghost of Christmas Past. All right, let's get it. I'm gonna start the podcast. You already know the deal. We've done this before. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Idols to Rivals podcast. This is episode number 30. And if you're not watching live on YouTube or the rerun after it on my YouTube channel at Jack Hummell, just threw up a big 3-0. We made it 30 episodes since I started, I believe, January 28th, January 27th. Around then, we now have 30 episodes. So got to be a little more consistent here next year, but we got big plans coming for the new year. And I'm ready for the 21st. I'm ready for 2021. I can't believe we're actually saying that. Whenever all this crazy COVID stuff started, it was March, and March is now 3 months away. So it's kind of hard to even describe the feeling. But I guess everyone in the world has it. But I'm your host, Jack, at Jack Hummell on everything, on Instagram, YouTube. Those are the big ones. And like I said, this is episode number 30 of the Idols to Rivals podcast. And I appreciate you guys for listening. Everyone that's kind of made it through this journey with me so far, I really appreciate it. I hope these are going to be some foundational steps where we look back and we're like, wow, that was the start of something that turned into hopefully a community of people. And even since I've started, even in just these 30 episodes across this 11 months, I'd guess it is now. I feel closer to people I didn't even know that had the same sort of feelings as me, kind of acquaintances that you kind of know in passing, kind of well, but then you come out and connect with people because it's real life now. And at least me and most of my people that I know, real life has started. People are having kids. Some of my friends have 2 kids, friends have houses, things along that nature, graduating college. Like, the real world begins now. So the fact that people are connecting on such a deep level, it's like something I talked about in the last episode, of where you really find out where people are. Like, you'll notice there's a big change from high school to college, and from college after college. You really see people come to find themselves and come to create themselves. And people go, some people drop out of school and they go, mountain climbing in Yosemite for the rest of their life. Some people turn it up and become a badass businesswoman. It's just really up to anybody. And so people are sort of creating themselves. And so connecting with people on such an interesting level, where maybe I've hung out with you a couple of times, maybe you've seen me, maybe I've seen you, maybe we follow each other on Instagram, and that's it. And just getting these DMs and messages from people, it's really encouraging, knowing that a lot of people feel the same way, and that just positivity can win. And a lot of people, everyone's going after what they think is the right goal in life and the right direction. And so being able to share that and have people give you advice, have people give you opinions, have people give you sort of things to think about, is something really special. And so I appreciate everyone that's reached out to me over these 30 episodes. We're coming up on 50. 50 is going to be a big one. I'm excited for that. Hopefully we'll have some big plans. We'll have some people on and just kind of talk about it. But yeah, like I said, I love people reaching out. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just Google Jack Hummell. It should pop up, and follow me on Instagram, because I'd love to chat. If I don't know you, I'd love to talk to you. That's the whole reason about this, is kind of opening up and building a spot where you can talk and you can have an opinion and you can think for yourself. And sort of that has always been the mission for all this. For the YouTube videos, those are more entertainment, but these podcasts are kind of more of a reality check, of more of not really what you see all the time on the internet. And I don't know, I find it exciting. That's why I've done it for the past however many weeks, 11 months is. But yeah, I'm excited about it. So I guess we'll kind of run it down. Like I said, done the intro already. If you haven't already, if you've checked out the podcast on the audio version on Spotify, on Apple, or Google Play, if you have an Android, check out the YouTube videos. I think they're really cool. I've got a pretty decent setup, I'd say. You get to see my beautiful face, and I just think it's a good time. But going on from that, we'll start with sports, because you all know I always like to start with sports. It's championship weekend, and the Alabama Crimson Tide is playing the Florida Gators. So I hope we absolutely demolish them. I'm really hoping, and my vote, Devontae Smith in the Heisman, putting it on the record. I've always thought he was amazing since he won me a national title my junior year of college, and that was the greatest night of my life. And so I'm rooting for him for Heisman. He would be like the 4th wide receiver to win Heisman. What's another couple games? I know some people are playing games for just normal games to kind of get their sponsors and things like that. And if you are watching live, you can see my $6 ring light from Amazon is doing really well, because if I breathe too hard, it knocks the circuit wide open. But yeah, I know Clemson's playing Notre Dame. If Clemson loses, which they will not, they'd be out of the playoffs, and A&M would be, which would be an absolute tragedy. And all my friends from Texas know I hate A&M, so we cannot allow A&M into the playoffs. But you never know, crazier things have happened. But I'm excited about it. In other news and kind of things that I think's cool, I guess, is the segment. Bitcoin just hit an all-time high, somewhere north of $19,000. And a little fun tidbit, if you know me, I've probably talked about this before, but back in 2012, 2011, I can't say professional Call of Duty player. I'd say semi-professional Call of Duty player. And my buddy, somebody who was on my team, Danny, if you're listening, if you're out there, he was a Chicago boy. I haven't talked to him in quite a while. We messaged a couple guys on Snapchat back and forth, actually talking about meditating, which was kind of a crazy thing to reconnect about. But yeah, he had talked to me about Bitcoin, and I don't know how old I was in 2012, like 15, 14. And we were talking about it, and it was just like, what is this? He was the big computer guy, so he knew more about how you could mine Bitcoin, and I can't even get into the logistics of that because I don't fully understand it. But I mean, this was the era of where you hear these people that bought like a pizza with like 50,000 Bitcoin, and it's like that would now be worth, I don't know, X amount of millions of dollars, and they bought a pizza with it. I just think that that's an absolutely wild concept. And if I knew, I mean, it's not like I had a bank account or could have been investing. I don't know if there's an age limit to invest. Probably should know that as a finance major, but you know, it is what it is. But I just like to think about, like, if I would have thrown in $50 and just, I mean, literally the time that I had heard about it, I can't remember the exact year. Like I said, it was like 2010, 2011, 2012. It was cheap. And so, I mean, just thinking about the amount of money and being set for life, but you can't predict the future. So it's just a fun thought experiment. But I always think about that whenever I was told about that, because I was like, what is Bitcoin? Like, that sounds like bullshit. Like, oh, you're going to give some kid some money on the internet and he's going to give you Bitcoin. Like, what can you buy with Bitcoin? Well, nothing. It's the currency of the future or whatever. I mean, you're 13 years old, you're 11 years old, you're really not going to know. But it's a fun thought to think about, all the Lamborghinis I'd have at the moment. But that's just crazy news. The world is kind of topsy-turving on its head with all this, with all the COVID and political stuff that's happening right now, and the new year coming around. And so I'm hoping that it will be just a refresh when 2021 starts. And I have faith that it will. It's been a rough year. It's ending just as rough as it started. So, you know, you got to go through the dark times to get to the bright times. And I don't know, I'm really excited about it. I think big things are going to happen very soon. Actually, I know big things are going to happen very soon, because just finding my motivation and finding motivation through others, like I alluded to earlier, and throughout this podcast, it's always been about, you know, creating that future. That's why, once again, Idols to Rivals, it's about working your ass off until those people you looked up to are the ones that are sitting across from you in a business meeting, or the ones that you're having lunch with talking about plans to conquer the world and things like that. So that's always what this podcast has been about, essentially, is creating that and fostering a community around that. Because I think it was either it was like David Grootman, who is like the king of Miami. He owns like all the nightclubs, all the best restaurants in Miami. And he was talking about or Scooter Braun, it might've been Scooter Braun, who discovered Justin Bieber, who managed Ariana Grande for a little bit. He talked about how the people sitting in your classroom, the people that you message on Twitter, the people that message on Instagram, these people that you're growing up with are going to be the ones that are the titans of industry when you get there. It's not about knowing the people that are there now. It's about when you guys get to that level together, then you can text the person that runs Miami. There you go. Nightlife, boom, talking. Okay, you got somebody killing it in Vegas in finance. Okay, let's go to Vegas and see what's up. And just things like that. And just trying to get a connection of all these circles. And that's what really all this clout and stuff is about, is getting in the right rooms. Because as soon as you're in the right rooms, most people can make it happen. Most people can understand what the best move is. Most people can understand kind of a good play. And I genuinely believe that. And it's about getting in the room. It's about getting in the room. And once you're in the room, you can make it happen. And I fully believe that. And so that's what my focus has been, is getting in the right room. Where I'm currently at in Northern Alabama for what I want to do is not necessarily the right room for where I'm trying to go. And so with that, you got to make a game plan. You got to figure it out. You got to plan for the future and just make sure you leave as many doors open as possible. And so with that, you got to take risks. With that, you got to put things into perspective and kind of get real about it, which I talk about being real, but it's like, you got to be real and you also got to be imaginative. And it's that polarity between the two of making both of those things work and making sure that you keep both of those in perspective so that you can not crush your dreams, or you can at least have dreams, and then you can plan them out, make an action plan, and go for it. And so kind of taking a little bit of a turn with that, I don't know if anyone else does this, but I know a lot of people do this because of the views on these YouTube videos. But sometimes you get in that stretch of, you're not feeling the best. You're not really, you kind of get beaten down a little bit. And so you go on YouTube and a motivational video pops up. It's like anywhere from 5 minutes to 35 minutes to an hour long. And you just click on one and it's like, choose your destiny, or how to be successful, or all these titles that are meant for you to click on them. And it works. I mean, these videos have 30 million views sometimes. And so I got looking at obviously you have Tony Robbins, who I've spoken on this podcast, Gary Vaynerchuk, two people I really look up to. And then you have Greg Plitt. So if you don't know who Greg Plitt is, look him up. He was a model. He was a fitness guru. I'd say I'd classify him as one. And he tragically died in 2015. He was a young guy. I mean, 40s. I don't know exactly how old he was. He wasn't like 20 or 23 or anything like that, but he was a younger guy. He was in amazing shape still. And anyway, not talking about his death, but he tragically passed away in 2015, 2014, around then. And I don't know why, but I just started clicking on some of his workout videos to just kind of get ideas for upcoming workouts. And then it kind of got to motivation, because if you watch these videos, there's hours of clips of Greg Plitt just hammering into the camera and making you feel like you could tackle a semi truck. And so he got to one, and it was kind of in the back of my head. I was kind of prepping to like go to sleep. I kind of wrapped up my day. It's been a long couple weeks, but I was kind of like zoned out, kind of ready to, like I said, ready to lay down, go to sleep. And he said something that hit me, and I was like, wait a minute. And when you kind of just in the back of your head, you're like, okay, you either are like, I'm going to get up and rewind that, or you're like, it's probably wasn't that important. So I was debating that. And of course, it's a Greg Plitt video, so it's like, get off your ass and do something. So I rewinded it, and he said something that hit me so to my core. And I'll leave it for sort of the end to kind of keep you enticed, or I mean, you can fast forward for it if you want. But firstly, the thing that I've realized that there's about 10 to 15 universal constants that all these people say, that all you boil it down to, it's all it is. And number one, I'd say on the list, is mindset is everything. Having a mindset of go, having a mindset of attack, having a mindset of I'm in the dumps, I'm hurting physically, I'm hurting emotionally, anything like that. If you put yourself in the right mindset, everything changes. Your whole perspective changes, the plan of action changes, everything changes. So mindset, that's number one. Because I like things orderly, and sometimes I can be a little OCD about things, about my room, about tasks and things like that, which can kind of lead to analysis paralysis, which is the worst. And I've struggled with deeply with that. But mindset's number one. I try to get like, okay, well, if I have a bad thought process, what's step one? Okay, realize it's mindset. And then you can kind of, once you realize your mindset, then you can go, okay, I need to read a quote, or I need to read something to put me in a perspective. And so as long as you can lock in on getting off the hook, which is another phrase from The Confidence Gap, which is a book I'd recommend listening to, reading. It is incredible. I think the picture of it, the cover art is like a penguin jumping off an iceberg. It looks like it was made in a $2 shop. And if you design the cover art, I apologize. The odds of you watching this are absolutely zero. But it looks like a book that you would just glance by in a Books A Million. It's say, don't judge a book by its cover. This is the book. This is the book that they quoted that after. And it's getting off the hook. It's getting off the hook of, I'm not good enough. I'm too tired to work out. I'm too tired to go study. I don't have enough money to make this happen. It's all that. And it's getting off the hook of self-doubt and fear. And it's mindset, number one. And so he preaches that all the time. Like I said, Tony Robbins, that's his number one. Gary Vaynerchuk, that's his number one. All these guys, that's their number one. So you start with that. And then he talks about how this is another thing that's exactly the same as Tony Robbins, who, like I said, I look up to. He's just had success. Some people think he's a charlatan. I don't, because I just think through his actions and through his results. You see all these people online that are selling courses to their $1,000 a month course on how to pick up women or how to do drop shipping or all this stuff. And you're like, you see him with a Lamborghini in a Snapchat video, but it's like, these guys aren't rolling around in high rises. They're taking videos in them, but they don't own this stuff. Tony Robbins has, at least from what I've seen, a perspective of, or a life of abundance, and that he's created from essentially nothing. And so the quote that he said was, happiness runs parallel with progress. And so happiness is all about progress, whether it be your physical progress, your mental progress, your spiritual progress, whatever it is, happiness runs parallel with that. Happiness is progress, is something that Tony Robbins often says. And it's that thought of like, okay, it's like goals versus values. Like I talked about, I think about 3 or 4 podcasts ago, goals versus values. Your goals, you're going to achieve them. But if you're living by your values every day, then the goals don't even really matter. You'll get to those goals, but it'll be building those building blocks of values and growth is what really happiness is. Because when you're stagnant, think about it. It's with quarantine is a great example. Think about how whenever you sat there doing nothing, it just ate away at you. And yeah, it was fun for the first couple of weeks where you're like, okay, I can watch every Netflix show I want to. And then you burn through everyone. I mean, every person I talked to come May, it was like, you got anything good to watch on Netflix? Oh, nope, seen every second of that. Oh, what about that one? Nope, seen that one 3 times. Oh, what about this? And then you're watching The Office for the 17th time to go to sleep, like I was. And everyone was kind of on the same page of just stagnant. And that's kind of why I got to move. That's why I love traveling. That's why I love experiencing as much as possible. Because as soon as you're stagnant, it's like you're not alive anymore. It's got that feeling of that. So the whole happiness runs parallel with growth. And that was another one of these universal laws that I was like, okay, if these two guys are saying the exact same, I mean, verbatim, the exact same thing, these things got to be true. And like I said, all these self-help books, all these books that everyone's into that kind of has the same mindset as myself and hopefully you as well. There's these universal laws that just everyone agrees on, and they say it all in a different way. They use a different example every single time, but it's all the same stuff. And then the last one, and this one hit me like a ton of bricks. This is the one where I kind of glazed over it and I was like, that was interesting. And then I thought about it and I was like, holy shit, this actually changes my perspective on a lot. I don't want to say everything, but almost everything. It is just profound. And so I immediately grabbed my notebook and wrote it down. And so he said, depression is the present tense form of regret. I'm going to repeat that again. Depression is the present tense form of regret. Just sit there for a second and think about that. Have you ever heard a more true statement in your life? Regret is what you feel after the fact, after the what ifs, after you're laying on your deathbed saying, I didn't go for it. I didn't upload that podcast because I was too nervous to. I was too tired to. I didn't upload that Instagram video that I really wanted to, or Instagram picture that I really wanted to, because I knew people would shit on me. People would make fun of me. I didn't do it. But that could have been the one that Billy whatever from talent agency could have been like, damn, I really like that. Change your life. The one piece of content rule, change your life. The world we live in can change like that for you. Everything. These TikTok kids that are getting famous, one piece of content away from your life changing. Regret. That's what you feel after the fact. That's what you feel for not making that decision. Depression is the present tense form of that regret. Whether it be you're depressed about your past, what you've done, looking to the past, or whether it be you're depressed about your future because you see nothing in it and you regret that things haven't changed. Depression is the present tense form of regret. And I mean, I almost could end the podcast on that. It was one of the most profound things I've ever heard. And so I've been on this kick recently about positivity and everything like that, but I've had my struggles with it. I don't want to full blown say I have depression or anything like that, because I genuinely believe what I've said in other podcasts. Everybody has it. Everybody has those bad days. I think it's way too quick to immediately say you have a chemical imbalance to where it's like everybody has that. I think it's because people can't accept that they have bad days, they have bad weeks, they have bad years. That happens. I mean, imagine growing up in a generation where you were drafted to war. Imagine growing up being drafted into Vietnam like most of our grandparents were. Hey, oh, you want to get married to Susie Sue that you've been dating since you were 4 years old? Oh, guess what? You go off to work and you're dead by 18. That's over. Your plans, you got a ticket. You had a ticket that was punched that said, Jack Hummel, here's a uniform and here's a jungle. Go fight people. Go to a place you've never probably even heard of and go fight people. And then fall in a pit of punji sticks. And all those plans you had, a future, those kids you wanted to have, those grandkids, your family name, your last name, gone at 18. Do you know how many people that happened to over history? And we get sad. And this is not a me pointing down at you. This is a me talking to you because you're my friend, because I care about you. I'm the exact same way. You have a bad week at work, you get yelled at work, a bad month, you have a bad year. People's family names ended before they could drink alcohol, before they could probably get to their first election. The kids they were going to have that could have gone on to do great things, that could have been a president, that could have cured cancer, whatever it is. That's all over. And you had no choice in it. You had no choice. And we have limitless potential. We have YouTube, we have audio, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have LinkedIn, we have whatever you want. We have GoFundMe. You got a great idea? You don't got to go pitch to a Madison Avenue company saying, hey, I need however much money to get this awesome idea started. The people around you can help you start that. Indiegogo, same thing. You can do anything in this world, absolutely anything. That may have been a saying back in the day when they were trying to sell houses to people in the 50s and 60s. Oh, the American dream, you can buy a house. You live in America right now, you can change the world. You can build a big enough influence to actually change the world. How mind-blowing. From your room, from taking photos of you in your Honda Civic, taking a TikTok from the back of your mom's Suburban, you can grow a career that changes your family's generational wealth. How mind-boggling is that? And we're worried about a bad day, and we're worried about going to the doctor to get a Xanax prescription. I mean, it's wild. It's wild. And so that's why I think that this quote, depression is the present tense form of regret, is so true. I know people have depression. I know people have mental issues, problems, instabilities, whatever you want to call them, and they're real. I will not be a denier of that. I totally understand that. Plenty of people in my life with real problems, and I know I'm sure a lot of you do. I'm sure a lot of you struggle with a lot of stuff. We all do. But verbalizing it in that way of regret kind of takes the power away from the word depression. Oh, I'm depressed. It's because you regret something you did in the past, so you're living in the past. Look forward to the future. Oh, I'm depressed. It's because you regret the path you've chosen, so your future doesn't look great. Change your path. Notice how there was nothing about how that feeling is going to change you. You can change it. You get to make the decision. It's not something that has you, and it's like, oh, well, you're going to die with this. You're going to die with this, and it's going to hold you down. It's going to drag you to a pool of water and just hold you down. It is, I have the power to change. I have the power to get better. And you can take that and you can do whatever you want with it. You can go change the world. You can go change yourself. You can go change your loved ones. You can go to a country and change the country. You can go build a school. It's up to you. And so that brings that responsibility of your life back to you. It's not in somebody else's hands. It's not in depression's hands. It's in your hands. And you have the power to do whatever you want to do with that. And so I encourage everybody to get after it. If anybody needs to talk about anything, please feel free to DM me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, anything. I'm here. I love it. It gets me fired up whenever I have friends or people I don't even know reach out to me and kind of talk to me about podcast, and it just gets me fired up, and I absolutely love it. But on that note, you can do anything. You literally can do anything. Just think about it. Think about what you can do with this thing. And I'm holding up my my iPhone for everyone that's listening on the audio podcast for the YouTube video. You can do anything. Do with that as you will. And like I always say, I am Jack. I've been your host at Jack Hummell, 2 M's, 2 L's. Give me a subscribe on YouTube. I really appreciate it. We're on our way to 50 subscribers. And if you would follow me on Instagram, I got a new camera lens, and we're about to take some great photos with it and get back into doing what I love. And so just remember, fear nothing, attack everything, and let's change the world. Peace. Ooh, that was a rant, but everything about that was spot on. And so with that, I think we're going to cut after hours a little short today. But don't let it control you. You're responsible for your own life. Be the captain of the ship and steer it wherever you want to go. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as you're happy, just get after it. If you want to make puka shells into loom for the rest of your life, and that makes you super happy, go do it. Who cares? You got one life. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment if you liked it. Leave a like if you liked it. Really helps me out. Appreciate it. You guys have a great week. Peace.